When we drive in your car, I'm your baby. Losing all my innocence in the backseat. Say you love, say you love, say you love me. Losing all my innocence in the backseat. Young love XO. Young lust, let's go. When we drive in your car, I'm your baby. You're welcome.
Welcome back to part 2 of our 100th episode double feature for Crips and Corks. I'm your host, DJ, here with my co-host,
Paul, as usual. And we made it back. We made it past part 1.
Yes, and the after party.
Yes, we've made it past the real part where she's married and doing all the fancy shit. And we have dressed down, just like Diana did after she...
we've shed our royal elegance. I've lost the tiara, the pearls, and the ring. I don't know if you caught that. Paul's somehow gained my tiara.
Yes.
He's the Camilla. You truly are the Camilla to my Diana.
Yes, very that. Well, actually, what I was going for was like... Drunk guy after the wedding, looks messy, took off his tie, he's like...
Somehow got the bride's tiara.
Yeah, his hair is messed up, he's just having a good time at the after party, all the formal shit's done, and he can just let loose.
See, the first thing I do at a wedding, I get to the reception and I take my shoes off.
That's because you wear heels, though.
I do.
Yeah. I'm not wearing heels to the wedding, okay? I'm wearing your basic, like, black dress shoe. What? Pussy.
Pussy.
Maybe the next wedding I will then. Maybe the next wedding you're going to catch me in heels.
Well, I mean, I think we want to go to the ballet at some point.
Girl.
I know you don't want to see the Nutcracker. I want to see the Nutcracker because I've never seen it professionally. But Dracula.
See, I'd go see Dracula because I was... Fun fact, I was the prince in the Nutcracker Suite like 5 years in a row for the Appalachian Ballet Theater.
I can get that, but Dracula's coming, and I've seen Dracula, the ballet, once before, and I really enjoyed it. And but that was years ago, and I would go again, and that's right up our alley.
Yeah, I would definitely go see the ballet Dracula. That would be cool. That would be fun. That would be interesting.
So, because this is a double feature, we're not doing Pop Culture Corner, we're not doing Curses and Blessings. Paul, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the first part of Princess Diana?
Well, I learned a lot of things I didn't know about her. First off, I didn't realize how abusive, everything was, and how, from the start, it was just a mess. How Charles was already in love with someone else, and, if he wasn't in love with Camilla, just marry fucking Camilla. It's like that stupid bitch Camilla Cabello. I don't trust her. Okay, and what she was doing with my boy Sean, I don't trust it. Don't trust her. It's not Havana. And this Camilla, not Havana. So I guess the moral of the story is if you know a Camilla in your life, don't trust them, okay? All right, we're not trusting any Camillas anymore from this point forward, okay? Your son rolls up dating a Camilla. Your daughter rolls up dating a Camilla. She's out right away. She's done. You name your daughter Camilla, you name your son Camilla, you're canceled by default, okay? You get the Devil's Cradle, okay? The Devil's Handshake, the Iron Maiden.
Wait, okay, you just said the Devil's Cradle. Have you been watching those? I see them on Instagram Reels all the time. It's the girl, she's in the bonnet. And it's like the white people doing I'm so-and-so and I brought this. And it's like, the Devil's Cradle for you and your Uber driver.
That's exactly what I'm referencing.
I love those.
I'm just so disappointed you're watching Reels. What are we doing? Are we 70? Get on TikTok. What are we doing?
Okay, so what I do is...
You're getting that shit too... That's why you didn't know about the fucking Gap X Katsu.
No, I do have TikTok, but what I do is when my TikTok becomes nothing but clips from old movies...
Which I'm sure happens a lot for you.
It doesn't. It happens once every 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Much like Charles coming in to fuck Diana. What I do is I switch back and forth between Instagram Reels and TikTok to try and clear out the algorithm.
Girl, I don't know. It still ain't sitting right with me. When y'all be sending me those Instagram Reels, it's cursed.
Okay.
Instagram Reels are cursed.
Now, what is the craziest part of Princess Diana's story, do you think, so far?
Probably, like you said, the sex every 3 weeks. Her mom leaving her on the stairs.
Okay, if I had so much information, I blew so far past of it. So her mother did leave her on the steps.
Yeah.
But and then they got an initial custody agreement where Diana and her brother were to live with their mother in London.
Mm-hmm.
And so she left in the summer, and then by fall they were living with their mother in London. And then they went to spend Christmas with their father, and their father just didn't return them, and he told the kids that their mother didn't want them anymore. So she was conflating hearing that with her mother actually, like, leaving. Like, her mother did leave. Her mother left. She bought an apartment, and then she sent for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then she conflated the later, like, her father saying, like, oh, your mother doesn't want you.
That's a lot. This whole thing is a lot. There's
It
so
is
much.
a lot. And you kind of can see, like, where... And, like, I had to go into the childhood trauma because it really influenced who she was as an adult and how she entered her marriage.
Right. She went in a troubled person and left a troubled person. Like, all the trauma from an early age. Like, girl, shit's fucked.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything to add from
It's
first
just all
episode?
crazy.
Yeah, this
It's
story,
all crazy.
Her story's crazy, and I'm learning so much new stuff about her I didn't know.
Yeah. So for this part, we're going to finish the bottle of Moet and Chandon because this is $53 a bottle.
Yes, we've got champagne problems. Your Midas touch on the Chevy door. Da da da. Da 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 da. The lyrics are escaping me. Sorry, Taylor Swift. I apologize. You won't forget all
For
of
you?
my champagne problems.
There are some people who would say that Diana had champagne problems.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Do you know what champagne problems are?
Yeah.
Rich people problems.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's that Conan Gray song about? Damn, it'll come to me later, but there's a Conan Gray song about rich kids. Oh, affluenza. Rich kids having affluenza,
Yes.
like influenza.
Oh my god, yes.
But it's affluenza. It's a good song. Go listen to Conan Gray's song Affluenza. It is so good.
This is the first time ever on an episode we finished a bottle.
Girl, and you know after the episode we're finishing every bottle. Mainly me.
Yeah, we do. Anyways,
Cheers!
All right. We want to do this thing, bitch.
Let's get into it.
All right. Give me a minute to sign in. Paul Corkies, let me tell you a story. Continuing our examination of the story of Princess Diana, we have moved on from her disastrous marriage to Prince Charles. Finally, a woman in control of her destiny, Diana was determined to chart her own course in life and love. But a not-so-chance meeting would lead her to a tragic car crash, which would end her story and start a whole slew of conspiracies. Now for the life and death of Princess Diana Part 2, Crash and Conspiracies.
Ooh, crash and conspiracy.
So, trigger warnings on this part. We have discussion of violent bodily injury, murder, and racism.
Oh, two of my favorite things and one of my least favorite things.
Right.
And just to note, my least favorite thing is racism, for anyone who is guessing.
I'm glad you clarified that. I was a little concerned. Now, 1997 saw Diana ready to start a new era in her life. With her marriage over and her royal title gone, she was eager to move past her past. I literally wrote past her past. She threw herself more deeply into her work with charities. She resigned as patron of the over 100 charities she had taken on as Princess of Wales to focus on just 6, mostly to do with suffering.
That's so poetic. Oh my gosh.
But no, she really did keep the ones. She kept the Royal Marsden Cancer Trust,
Okay.
the National AIDS Trust, the Leprosy Initiative, Centerpoint, which was a homeless shelter.
Oh, it's so nice of her to help the leopards.
Yes. I'm forgetting one. And then the Royal Ballet. Because she loved ballet throughout her life.
Understandable. Ballet. I do like ballet. Like I said, I was the Prince in the Nutcracker Suite 5 years in a row with the Appalachian Ballet Theater.
She also began to champion causes which had a political aspect which she could not support as Princess of Wales, such as the eradication of landmines. She was a key supporter. What's that look for?
Landmine. Were they that big of a problem?
Yeah. I mean, not here, but like in Africa. Because here's the thing. People would, like during times of war, would place them and then just leave them.
Yeah.
And then, like, 20 years later, some kid is going to, like, get a pail of water from the well, steps on one, and he loses a leg.
Okay, could you imagine, though? Mommy, I'm going to get some water. Do. Boom!
Okay, not in England.
Oh, not in England. Oh, you did say Africa. Okay.
Yeah, in Africa, parts of Asia, Eastern Europe. She was a key supporter of the Ottawa Treaty, which aimed to get nations to agree to stop using them, and personally lobbied President Bill Clinton to sign it. She also began talks with the new British Prime Minister, Tony Blair, about her role as a roving ambassador for good for the United Kingdom.
Okay, period.
So she's growing into herself. She's trying to find her own role.
We love to see that. But you know who probably hates to see it? The royal family.
Now, during this time, she was regarded as the world's second most famous humanitarian, directly behind Mother Teresa.
Okay, that's kind of crazy.
When you think, like, humanitarian, Mother Teresa! Not Mother Teresa. Princess Diana!
Yeah.
Like, it was that quick.
Which, we'll have to do an episode on Mother Teresa, because I heard there's some shady things going on there.
There is. So, when I initially discussed doing this podcast with the other person who shall not be named...
Voldemort!
Yes. So, one of the first things I brought up was I was like, I want to cover, like, saintly miracles.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, but not Mother Teresa. And I was like, okay. And she's like, because Mother Teresa... Like, it was like a trigger thing.
Yeah. I'd like to know more about what actually went down with Mother Teresa and why there's that shady things going on. But another story.
Diana did know Mother Teresa, and they were personal friends.
Ooh, they were bumping purses.
So I don't think so, because Diana was 5'10" and wore like big stiletto heels, and Mother Teresa was like 4 foot nothing.
Okay, maybe Mother Teresa liked to be topped by some big lesbian. Big lesbian, Diana.
Now, despite her own focus on her charity work, the press was focused more on her personal life and was eager to tie her to a new romantic partner. While press reports at the time described her as sad and alone in Kensington Palace.
All things used to describe me.
Yes. She was actually juggling the affections of up to 9 different men, including pop star George Michael, who is actually gay.
You know what, period. And you know what? More power to you, Diana. Keep all 9 men and keep your gay one.
And opera star Luciano Pavarotti.
I'm surprised he's not the Sorry, gay one.
No, he was like a big-time womanizer, but that voice. Oh, if you like opera, Pavarotti.
Luciano is such a pretty name.
I
wish
know.
I had a pretty name.
So I do like opera, and I am so bitter that Pavarotti died and Maria Callas died before I got to hear them live. Because I love listening to their recordings.
That's one thing I'll always be bitter about, back to the name thing, is like how boring my name is. Because I don't feel like a Paul. I feel like my name should be more interesting, like a Bryson.
You are a Bryson.
Right, I'm not a Paul. Paul is such a boring government name.
Or Branson.
Branson, fuck it. Just some Lucas even.
No, you're Bryson. You're definitely Bryson. You could change your name at any point.
Yeah, I don't think my parents would be too pleased if I did that. They named me after my grandfather, which of course they did. They couldn't pick an interesting name like they gave my brother. But that's a story for another time.
I'm very lucky because my father was named after his father, and I'm very lucky that I was not Gerard III.
Yeah, that's kind of an ugly name. Sorry about your family.
Could you imagine? And I mean, it wasn't even like my grandfather was Jerry, my father was Jerry. Could you imagine if I was Jerry too?
Jerry, yeah, Jerry. Which, side note, is Jerry the cat or that mouse?
Jerry's the cat, Tom's the mouse.
Tom's the mouse. Are you sure?
No, Tom's the cat because Tomcat, and Jerry's the mouse.
Okay, I've been pondering that this week because I wasn't sure which was which.
Now I'm doubting myself. Hang on.
Because
I gotta Google it.
But also, I'm gonna need to see one app because neither of them ever talk in any of the episodes. So I'm gonna need someone to find
That's
me
the
a clip
point.
for proof, like who is who, which one's Tom and which one's Jerry.
Before I look this up, final locking in. Tom's the cat, Jerry's the mouse.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that as well. Because it makes sense, Tom Cat. But like, is it really though? Maybe they switched it to be funny.
Tom is the cat. It's Thomas Jasper Cat Sr.
Damn, Thomas Jasper. That's a cooler name than Paul. Jesus.
And it's Gerald Jinx Mouse. So Jerry the Mouse.
Damn, they both have cooler names than I do. It's rough out here. But we should probably get back to our main story.
Now, to protect their identities of her numerous suitors, she developed a numeric code that went along with greyhound racing. And that way she could discuss them openly without anyone overhearing who she was talking about. Oh. So, like, one day it would be like, Paul's Trap 1.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, Trap 1. Like, things are going really well with him. And then it's like, well, Trap 1's now Trap 5 because we went out to dinner and he spilled his champagne all over me.
Okay. Interesting.
She also maintained crushes on Tom Cruise. This was before the Scientology. JFK Jr. and Crown Prince Pavlos of Greece.
Those Greece dudes, they do be hot. Okay, y'all need to get yourself a Greece dude.
Yes.
Grecian?
What's really interesting is Prince Charles's best friend was the former King Constantine of Greece, who was Prince Pavlos' father. So she's going after her ex-husband's best friend's son.
And you know what, period.
Who was age appropriate.
Pop off, sis. You better pop off. Go get that son.
Now, it was during this time that she had a very serious relationship with Pakistani-born heart surgeon Hasnat Khan. She was so serious about him, she visited his family in Pakistan and studied the Quran because he was Muslim.
Okay.
But his hatred of the press attention ended up driving them apart, and she broke things off after an argument where he accused her of leaking details of their relationship to the press in summer 1997.
Okay.
In July of 1997, she and her sons went on a 2-week vacation to Saint-Tropez at the invitation of Egyptian billionaire Mohammed Al-Fayed.
Okay.
Al-Fayed had dragged himself up from selling sewing machines on the streets of Alexandria to becoming one of the world's wealthiest men and could boast of owning Harrods department store in London, Fulham Football Club, and the Ritz Hotel in Paris.
That's pretty impressive, actually. No jokes there. That's actually just impressive.
Now, Al-Fayed was known to be a friend of Diana's late father, Johnny Spencer, and actually appointed her stepmother to the board of Harrods after his death, and had been trying to cultivate a relationship with Diana for years, going as far to claim that Earl Spencer made him promise to watch over Diana after his death on his deathbed.
Okay. Interesting. No comments. I'm just taking it all in.
Al-Fayed at this time was extremely bitter that after living in Britain for over 30 years, the government refused to approve his citizenship paperwork. This was done because of his ties to Middle East arms dealers and his use of funds from the Sultan of Brunei to buy Harrods. So he didn't even buy Harrods with his own money.
Wait, what are Harrods?
It's a department store.
Oh, okay.
In retaliation for him being denied citizenship, he publicly disclosed that he had bribed members of the Conservative Party in Parliament, which helped defeat them and bring Tony Blair and the Labour Party into power.
That's crazy. Like, when you hear all the inner workings of all this political shit, it's kind of crazy.
Now, Al-Fayed saw a key opportunity to get back at the British establishment through the former princess. He invited her for a cruise on his yacht, and upon her acceptance, he had to buy a yacht. And he bought the 208-foot-long super yacht Jonakal.
I feel like that's such a man thing to do, invite someone and not even have a yacht.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You gotta buy it.
Well, it sounds like he had the money, so.
Yeah. He also, when she accepted, called his eldest son, the movie producer Dodi Fayed, and ordered him to leave his fiancée in Paris and come to the French Riviera. Al-Fayed was determined to bind the British royal family with his own through marriage.
Okay, so he was gonna try and marry Diana.
To Dodi.
Okay.
And when you say he was a film producer, what did he produce? He produced Chariots of Fire and Hook.
Like the Peter Pan spinoff?
Yeah, with Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman.
That's so random. That's crazy.
Like, he was an actual, like, movie producer.
Yeah, that's just so random. That's so weird.
Now, the cruise was the start of a whirlwind romance between Diana and Dodi. When Diana's friend Gianni Versace was murdered outside his Miami home, he comforted her before she flew back to prepare for the funeral.
Which, the Gianni Versace story is a good story.
I know, we're going to have to cover that later.
Yes.
She's actually really tied into the Gianni Versace story.
To be determined.
Yes.
We'll get there, girls.
We might cover that, like, later.
Yeah, later.
She then returned to the Riviera for another cruise with Dottie, during which paparazzi photographed them kissing.
Ooh, scandal! Ooh, Kissing.
Soy a scandalo.
Soy a scandalo. Isn't that Alexis Mateo from Drag Race?
No, it's, oh my god, I can't remember her name. From season 2, The Chicken. And then she just came back on one of the recent...
I thought that was Alexis Mateo.
It's not Alexis Mateo.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Correct us in the comments. All you Drag Race fans.
No, this marked Diana's first public relationship since her divorce, and the press went wild and began circulating rumors in the papers of an impending engagement.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, Kelly Fisher, Dottie's fiancé, who he abandoned for Diana, sued Dottie for breach of contract for having left her.
Yeah. Was it really a contract, though? Like, it's just an engagement. An engagement isn't a contract.
No, it's not, but apparently he bought her a ring, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's not legal, girl.
In early August, Diana undertook a tour of Bosnia with the Red Cross as part of her campaign against landmines. It was photographed hugging a crying mother who had lost her son to one of the brutal weapons. But she then returned to the John Nicole for another cruise off of Sardinia with Dottie. By now, photographs of the pair were worth up to $250,000.
I hope we get that famous one day.
And the two were hounded by the press.
Nothing but a hound dog. Cry. You know that girl on TikTok?
Yes.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog. Crying all the time.
So this is her walking through a minefield.
Okay. Homegirl. One thing about Homegirl, she likes a pantsuit, I feel like. Is that a pantsuit?
No, she's wearing khakis and a white shirt.
Yeah, it's giving... Homegirl's not wearing dresses. She's not a dress girl. She's gonna wear
She
the
actually
pants.
wore a lot of dresses. I just didn't pick any pictures of her wearing... No, all the pictures I've had of her up until this point have been her in a dress.
I have not seen one picture of this bitch in a dress.
We'll compare later. In one of the last photographs taken of Diana, she sits alone at the edge of the yacht's diving platform, looking pensive, a haunting display of how she felt and lived most of her life.
I think I've seen that picture before.
It's a really famous picture. And see, SZA
Oh, SZA. Oh!
just recreated that.
Her album
Her
cover.
album SOS.
Oh my gosh,
Recreated
yes.
this picture.
But also, you can't really see her expression. You can't even zoom in. Like, you can't see
Well,
what
this
she's
is just
looking like.
one. This is my favorite one from a series of photographs of her just sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just sitting alone. And at one point, she actually, like, had her knees pulled up to her chest.
Love SZA, though. Shout out SZA.
On Saturday, August 30th, the couple left Sardinia and arrived at Paris's Le Bourget airport, and quickly their car, a Mercedes sedan followed by a Land Rover SUV, was surrounded by photographers on motorcycles.
Jesus.
I'm calling them motorcycles. Most things call them motorbikes, but I thought that might confuse you.
Well, you know
But-
me in auto cars.
But it's probably closer to like a Vespa.
A Vespa. Okay.
Yeah, so motorbike, motorcycle,
Moped.
moped.
Vespa.
Well, let's go with moped. I think that's a good compromise.
Moped. Okay.
Moped.
They were on mopeds. That's so stupid. They probably look so dumb.
Mopeds are really common over in Europe.
I know. It's just...
From the airport, they stopped at Villa Windsor, where the mansion where her ex-husband's uncle, the former King Edward VIII, lived with his American wife following his abdication of the throne, which was now leased by Dodi's father.
Okay. It's crazy there's 8 of them.
8 Edwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, pick a different name, bitch. We don't all need to be Edward.
Now, okay, I will say that Edward was named after his grandfather,
Well, no shit, DJ.
but King Edward VII, his grandfather, was the first Edward in 400 years.
Oh, so they just, like, brought it back for like, fun. I don't like that. That doesn't sit right with me.
Okay.
I don't know why I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Okay. Now, Muhammad apparently offered the home to Dodi if he married Diana, and only if he married Diana. From the airport, the couple traveled to the Ritz Hotel, owned by Dodi's father, Muhammad, where Diana had her hair shampooed and blown out, while sending someone out to buy a PlayStation for Prince Harry's birthday that was in just a matter of
The
weeks.
hair wasn't the only thing that got blown out, if you know what I'm saying.
Dodi, meanwhile, walked across the Place Vendôme to the Reposy boutique, jewelry boutique, to pick up a diamond ring called the Dis-moi oui,
Demon wee.
which is French for tell me yes.
Okay, that low-key... So cute. Love it. That's so...
The name,
Yes.
it is a really good name for an engagement ring.
I love that. Iconic.
Around 4:30 that afternoon, the couple left the hotel by the front entrance and traveled to Dodi's apartment on Rue Austin-Housset, where they changed for dinner. They left the apartment to find a large crowd of photographers who once again followed them on motorcycles. Dodi's usual driver recalled that Diana was very afraid the photographers would get hurt or killed as they swerved in and out of traffic to keep up with them. They diverted from their planned dinner at a restaurant and returned to the Ritz, where they attempted to eat in the hotel restaurant before retreating to the privacy of the Suite Imperiale.
Ooh, the Sweet Imperial.
Yes. It's a 2-bedroom suite.
Okay.
A crowd of photographers and reporters remained out front of the hotel on the Place Vendôme. At 10 minutes past midnight, the couple left the Suite Imperial with Dottie's bodyguard, Trevor Rees-Jones, and Ritz deputy head of security, Henri Paul. Dottie's regular driver pulled up to the front of the hotel in a sedan, followed by an SUV. Meanwhile, the couple, Rees-Jones, and Paul planned to depart through the back entrance and escape to Dottie's apartment without being seen.
Okay.
Unfortunately, photographers were waiting in the back alley and pounced as soon as the party exited to get into a rented 1994 Mercedes-Benz S280.
That would be so annoying. Just like, give it a break, these photographers. Paparazzi are so annoying.
Yes. Well, do you know what paparazzi means?
No.
It's Italian for mosquito.
Mosquito. Well, I mean, that makes sense. Bloodsuckers.
And how they always come back, like no matter how many times you swat them away, they come back.
Right. But that's a story for another time.
Paul drove the car fast in an attempt to get away from the photographers. As they approached the Pont d'Alma underpass, they were traveling over 120 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour zone.
So already there's some... Okay, that's way too fast, girl.
The car was going so fast that as the road... It was the road along the Seine River. So it ran flat, and then to go under bridges, there would be a decline,
Yeah.
a tunnel, and then an incline.
Yeah.
The car was going so fast that it flew over the decline and had to come down on the road.
That's crazy. That's so fast. But also it'd be kind of fun. We know a few people who drive like that,
Yes.
honestly.
Now, when So he did that, and when he landed, he found it hard to keep the car under control. They entered the tunnel at a high speed and nearly collided with a white Fiat Uno, which the Mercedes sideswiped before Paul lost control of the car, which struck the 13th concrete pillar supporting the roof of the tunnel, crushing the front end of the car, which, due to the high speed, spun around until it struck the opposite wall of the tunnel.
Okay.
Now, I do have a video recreation of this
Okay.
to give you an idea of the violence of this.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's see this car crash. Okay. I mean, that doesn't look that intense. I'm not gonna lie to you. It looks like he just hit the pillar.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you a picture of the car.
Okay.
Oh, that's the last picture. One of the last pictures of Diana.
She looks so happy there.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of sad that she looks so happy.
Now, you said it didn't look that intense.
Yeah.
This was the car.
That's crazy. That car is destroyed. That's not even a car anymore. That's crazy. That's just like rubble.
It was going so fast that when it hit that, it just decimated the car.
Right. Were there any survivors?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Henri Paul and Dodi Fayed were killed instantly and taken to the morgue.
Okay.
Paul was found to have a blood alcohol level 4 times the legal limit.
And he was the driver.
And he was the driver.
That's crazy, bitch.
Rhys Jones and Diana were both pulled from the wreck alive. Diana did not appear to be gravely injured, but was in shock and had to be sedated before being put into an ambulance where she went into cardiac arrest.
Okay.
She was taken to Petit Salpêtrière Hospital, where doctors fought to save her life after finding that the force of the crash had displaced her heart from the left side of her body to the right side and torn her left pulmonary vein.
I don't like that. That doesn't sit right with me.
At 4 a.m. on Sunday, August 31st, 1997, 23 years ago today, Diana, Princess of Wales, was pronounced dead at the age of 36.
23 years ago today?
Mm-hmm.
Like when it released.
Wait, no. Wait, hang on.
When this releases.
Hang on. 2007 would have been 10. 2017 would have been 20. 28 years.
Okay.
Sorry.
Are you talking about today or when this releases?
When this releases. The
Okay.
day this releases.
Okay, the day this releases. That's
28.
just the heart being on the other side of the body. That's... Oh, God, that doesn't sit right with me. I don't like that. Like, mental image. I don't like that. Rest in peace,
That the
girl.
force of it... So, around the heart, there's a sac of fluid to protect it. It's called the pericardial sac.
Mm-hmm.
The force of it caused the heart to dislodge and rip through the pericardial sac because it went from the left side to the right side of the body.
God. How did she not die instantly from that? That sounds like you're dead, bitch.
So it was like a slow bleed.
Oh, that's awful. Oh, poor girl. Poor Diana.
Now, this is not the end of our story. Within a few years of the crash, Mohammed Al Fayed accused the British royal family of murdering Diana and his son.
Yo, the drama continues!
He accused them of ordering British special forces to force the crash to prevent Diana, who he claimed was pregnant, from marrying Dodi, who proposed that night, and that she was hastily and illegally embalmed to cover up her pregnancy, because they did not want a Muslim member of the family.
Honestly, I don't know. Wait, does he have evidence on why he thinks she was pregnant? Like, what is the evidence? Is there any?
So,
Okay. If you're gonna tell me, you can keep going.
I want to make this fun.
Okay.
So we're going to discuss, so we know who was killed.
Yes.
So we know where they were killed.
Yes.
Now let's discuss how they might have been killed.
Okay.
Like, what's the murder weapon?
I mean, the car.
But how? So the first thing we're going to cover is Henri Paul, the drunk driver. Or was he drunk? Friends of Paul stated that he was actually a security services asset, tasked by both British and French security services with spying on the Ritz's high-profile and political clientele. He was the deputy head of security.
Yeah.
He's in a prime position. He was actually supposed to go on vacation the weekend that Diane and Dodi had come into Paris, but changed his plans at the last minute to stay in town to oversee their visit. Perhaps on the order of a handler?
Or, they're very high profile people, so I could see him just like doing it just because they're high profile people.
Okay, keep that in mind for later.
Okay.
Now, perhaps they tasked him with driving the couple so that then they could cause the crash. Now, this would only work if following his death, they switched his blood sample with that of a man who died by suicide that night of carbon monoxide poisoning, as there are claims that his blood alcohol content actually showed a carbon monoxide poisoning level within his bloodstream.
Okay, that's crazy.
Or perhaps they drugged him with a powerful drug to make him crash, which then quickly dissipated to leave only behind a high blood alcohol content.
Is there a drug like that, though? Is there a drug that does that?
I don't know. I'm not in the security forces.
Interesting. I don't know.
Okay.
Give me more evidence. Give me more.
Okay. The other thing that may have caused the crash was the bright flash. 3 separate eyewitnesses reported seeing a bright flash at the tunnel entrance just before the crash. Perhaps special ops assets posing as paparazzi on the motorbikes got in front of the Mercedes and used a bright light rose flash could stun Paul and cause him to lose control of the car. Like a stun light.
Yeah, but why would the paparazzi do that?
It's not the paparazzi. It's special forces posing
as paparazzi. Okay.
Richard Tomlinson, formerly of MI6, remember British CIA?
Mm-hmm.
Stated that while working for that agency, he saw plans eerily similar to the situation for the assassination of an Eastern European leader, which involved using a flash to stun his driver to cause a car crash.
Interesting.
Now let's discuss the seatbelts. Diana's sister, Lady Sarah McCorkadale, told the press after her death that she was stunned her sister had not been wearing a seatbelt because she always did it religiously.
Right. Maybe Diana... Was Diana drunk that night?
No.
No.
Diana wasn't a big drinker at all.
Mm-hmm.
An examination of the car seatbelts found that the right rear seatbelt damaged. This was the seat where Diana was seated during the crash.
So maybe the seatbelt was purposely damaged?
Maybe.
And it malfunctioned or something?
Perhaps. And then there's the ambulance.
Okay.
Diana was found in the immediate aftermath of the wreck to be conscious but going into shock. She was pulled from the ambulance at 1 a.m., 30 minutes after emergency responders arrived at the scene, 40 minutes after the crash. She was not moved to the ambulance for another 20 minutes.
That's a long time, especially for a person of high profile. I feel like that's a long time.
The ambulance did not depart for another 20 minutes, meaning there were 40 minutes between her being removed from the wreck and her leaving for the ambulance.
Okay, but who's counting? Who's counting these minutes? Who's timing this shit?
They have to, when somebody, any of this, they have to count.
Mm. And I guess it is a royal person, so, a high-profile person, so they have to, mark everything down.
The ambulance bypassed closer hospitals and even stopped at one point during the travels, despite the fact that it was moving at a slow speed. Perhaps the operatives were in control of the ambulance and purposely delaying getting her to the hospital in order that she might die of her injury since she didn't die up front.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. They wanted her to die on the way to the hospital. Mm-hmm. So they're like, let's make this bitch wait a little bit. Let her bleed out a bit.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then there's that white Fiat. Remember I said that it sideswiped a white Fiat?
Mm-hmm.
Analysis of the wreck found that it scraped against a white Fiat Uno during the crash. But what if it wasn't a desperate swerve to avoid the Fiat? What if the Fiat actually rammed the Mercedes and caused the crash? No driver after the crash came forward to say that they had been involved in the sideswiping and the tumble, and Paris police actually searched all 4,000 owners of a white Fiat in the Paris area and could not find the vehicle.
That's suspicious. Okay.
Now, I'm going to tie this back to the bright flash. Perhaps this is where the bright flash came from to stun Henri before it rammed the Mercedes to cause the crash.
Yes, okay. And then after that, they took the white Fiat somewhere and hid it.
Or painted it.
Okay, maybe painted it. Or maybe they took it back to the UK or something.
Or destroyed it.
Right. Just something.
Now,
interesting.
Who might have wanted Diana dead?
Well, who fucking didn't? Like, the whole royal family, fucking all these people in power don't like her.
Okay, now let's start with the most obvious culprit. Her ex-husband, Prince Charles.
Right.
He wanted to be rid of her and her stealing his press. He had been bitter since earlier in their marriage over her popularity. In fact, just weeks before her death, Diana posed for paparazzi the night he threw a birthday party for Camilla, who he was attempting to legitimize as his future spouse.
Okay.
And, to make matters worse, in the eyes of the Church of England, which Charles, as king, would be future head of, it did not recognize divorce until 2002, which meant that in the eyes of the church, Charles was still married to Diana and he could not marry anyone else.
So he wanted her dead so he could remarry that whore Camilla.
Diana herself was paranoid over this. 2 months after her divorce from Prince Charles, she wrote a letter to her butler and confidant, Paul Burrell. There are so many Pauls in the story.
Hi.
Quote, "This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure, and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry."
And who wrote that?
Diana.
Okay. I mean, if she wrote that and she knew it was coming and it happened, let's be real here, folks. That's probably what happened.
The next most obvious culprit is her former mother-in-law, the Queen.
They probably did it together. They probably did it together.
As sovereign, she was commander-in-chief of the British Armed Forces and could have easily ordered a hit. But why would this sweet little old granny do that? Because Diana was threatening the monarchy that she had spent 45 years, as of 1997, protecting. And why in a car? Because Queen Elizabeth was a car mechanic during World War II and intricately knew the workings of how to make a car crash. Lizzie greased the brakes!
Yes! Lizzie greased the brakes!
And that's going to be a t-shirt. And then there's Queen Elizabeth's husband, Prince Philip. Philip and Diana had formed a warm friendship at the start of her marriage, but by the end, Philip was one of her main opponents within the monarchy, resenting how she tried to upstage the Queen. And Muhammad al-Fayed believes that her plans to marry a Muslim man caused the racist Philip, a highly decorated military man himself, and the nephew of a former chief of staff of the armed forces, to order the hit.
Interesting.
But some of Diana's own friends don't believe it was her in-laws at all, but Diana's own humanitarian work that got her killed. At the time of her death, she was championing the eradication of landmines, going so far as to lobby, personally, the President of the United States.
I mean,
But landmines, like most weapons, are $1 billion business. If they're not used anymore, that's a lot of money lost. So perhaps arms manufacturers or dealers killed her to stop her influence.
I could see that too, honestly.
Or perhaps the CIA intervened on behalf of the Pentagon so the United States could continue to use them. After all, The Ottawa Treaty Against Landmines was signed after her death by every major nation on Earth except for India, Pakistan, Russia, China, and the United States.
I mean, these are all, like, good theories. I don't see one that it might not be, honestly.
Who do you think it is?
Honestly, if I had gun to my head, pick one,
Yeah.
I'd say the royal family.
Which member ordered the hit?
I'd say the queen.
The Queen? Lizzie
Yeah.
greased the brakes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lizzie greasing the brakes. But honestly, I could see any one of these theories being true.
Okay.
Like, honestly, all of them seem legit. All of them have the motive, and they're all very, very high power people and organizations.
How do you think it was done?
Oh, how do I think it was done?
Yeah. Out of what I laid out.
As of what I know right now, I think there's something going on with that white... It was a Fiat?
The white Fiat.
I think there was something going on with that white Fiat. Maybe they flashed and ran into them, but also they were going too fast, so maybe the driver was in on it. And
Do you think the car might have been tampered with?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
I just don't know. All of it seems very likely to me, honestly. There's no evidence that I know of right now that makes it seem not likely that it could be any one of those things.
All right. So, who did kill Princess Diana? In 2005, the British High Courts opened up a criminal investigation after years of Mohammed Al Fayed's accusations against the Dracula royal family. Quote. That's what he calls them.
Well, with all of the peoples they have conquered and oppressed, I don't blame them for calling them that.
After intensive investigation and interviews with most of Diana's closest associates, friends, family, and even her ex-husband and sons, the court ruled there was no foul play in the crash.
But it's still the royal court. Like, do I trust it?
It wasn't the royal court, it's the high court.
Still influence from the royal family. I don't trust that shit.
They ruled, now, ready? I'm going to debunk everything I just said.
Okay.
The crash was too random, and most of the points I explained above have reasonable explanations.
Okay.
Henri Paul was indeed drunk the night, having drank several drinks in the bar of the Ritz, assuming he was off duty and that Diana and Dodi were going to stay in the hotel. And he was recently going through a breakup. He was also which caused him to ramp up his already heavy drinking, being a known alcoholic.
I thought you said he didn't drink.
I never said that.
Oh.
Diana wasn't a big drinker.
Okay.
And he was also taking antidepressants, which would compound the effects of the alcohol.
That makes sense.
For example, to get to Dodi's apartment from the Place Vendôme, they would come to the Place de la Concorde. The fastest way was to take the Champs-Élysées. He turned the opposite way, went along the Seine, and actually drove away from the apartment. Which, you know, like a drunk person in a car, where the GPS says, turn right. And the drunk person goes, no, turn left.
Okay, yeah, okay, I could see that. But maybe he was in on it, I don't know.
Both British and French authorities carried out 3 separate tests to determine just how high his blood alcohol was that night. And as for the carbon monoxide, it was not at dangerous levels, but it could be attributed to the fact that he was smoking cigarettes all throughout the night.
Oh, that'll do it. No, that'll do it.
Now, the bright flash theory was put forward by Richard Tomlinson, formerly of MI6. But he was unable to prove the existence of any plans to kill using the method that he described, and he was actually later jailed for treason when he broke the Official Secrets Act for leaking details of MI6 operations. Of the 3 eyewitnesses who claimed to have seen a bright flash, only one claimed it was not a camera, and he was discredited by his own wife, who was sitting beside him in the car.
Oh, okay. If the wife discredited him and she was actually there, I believe that. Okay, I will believe that, yeah.
While Diana's seatbelt was found to be damaged, extensive investigation found it was damaged in the crash itself and non-tampered with prior to the crash, and that all seatbelts in the vehicle were all in normal, fully functional order.
Okay.
As for the ambulance, the French ambulance service operates under a stay-in-play protocol, where if a patient crashes, they stop to resuscitate and stabilize the patient before continuing on to prevent any harmful actions to happen during attempted CPR. This is why they left late from the scene, because she went into cardiac arrest before they could get her into the ambulance, and so they stabilized her. When she got in, she went into cardiac arrest again. They resuscitated and stabilized her, and they stopped because she began to crash, and they once again stabilized her. As for passing a hospital on the road to the hospital she ended up in, it is because that hospital was not equipped with a trauma room capable of treating either thoracic pulmonary injuries like she sustained, nor neurological disorders, which she was in a car crash she could have had in her head.
That's true.
So the fact that it couldn't help her with her chest injuries or potential head injuries meant that
She was gonna die, girl.
she was going to die, and she would have died a lot faster if they took her to an ER that wasn't equipped to handle that. And as for the white Fiat, there is no doubt that it did exist, and it was swiped by the Mercedes. But there were multiple other vehicles in the tunnel that night, and none of them reported the Fiat as driving aggressively towards the Mercedes, only that it was swiped by the Mercedes and then continued on its way as many others did.
Interesting. I don't know. I feel like if you're in a car crash, you stop. But, like, a lot of people don't, so whatever.
I mean, yeah.
And don't they usually... Well, I guess they wouldn't have blocked the motor, like the roadway for them. What I was getting at there is, like, usually they, like, block off motorways for, like, royal people, presidents, things like that. But
This
I guess...
wasn't technically a member of the royal family anymore.
Yeah, so they wouldn't have blocked off the roadway.
Nope.
There would just be random people on the road.
Now let's go through the culprits, whose motives all fall apart rather quickly. Charles's main opponents to his man Camilla wasn't his ex-wife, but his own parents, who lived for 30 years after the crash.
So what's the point there?
His motive, to kill Diana.
How does that discredit it?
Because the main opponent against him marrying Camilla wasn't the church. It was his parents, and he didn't kill his parents. And he actually began to build a friendship post-divorce with his wife. And he was actually appalled when Paul Burrell revealed the letter revealing that Diana feared he was going to kill her, and maintains to this day that they loved each other at the start and it just went wrong.
I don't know if I believe that.
Okay.
Not sure if I believe it.
Now let's look at the Queen. The Queen was always fond of Diana, having known her since she was born, and everyone she only ever expressed annoyance at her during the divorce for some of her more showy tendencies, and saw Diana was a valuable asset to the monarchy. In addition to being the beloved mother of her grandchildren, it was valuable as being kept around for that role.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense. Keeping her around, being the mother of her grandchildren, things like that, yeah.
As for Prince Philip, he did very much dislike Diana at the end of her marriage, but was more focused on his own interests and family. And besides, while he disliked Diana, he loathed Prince Andrew's ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, who was caught having her toes sucked by a Texan millionaire.
That's crazy. Not getting your toes sucked by a Texan. Now that's a book. That's a book
So if
title.
he was worried about, like, the preservation of the monarchy, why wouldn't he kill Sarah too? Sarah's still alive today.
Still getting her toes sucked by another millionaire.
And as for the racist attack that the royal family would not allow her to marry a Muslim, she had already discussed the possibility with Charles over Hasnot Khan over their divorce, and he gave her blessing, as did the Queen, with the wish that she just be happy.
I don't know, girl. People can say whatever they want, but...
As for if somebody did it because of her work with the landmines, Diana's death actually spurred many world leaders to see the landmine treaty to the end in her honor, and many say, had she not died, it would have taken years for an agreement to have been reached. As for the United States only refused to sign this treaty when it asked for an amendment allowing the landmines to be used in the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea being patrolled by American soldiers and was denied.
But would they have known, like, before they killed her that it would make it quicker to get it passed? Or did they think, like, beforehand, we're going to kill her so we stop with this whole mine nonsense? Could they have predicted that?
I don't know if they could have predicted it, but
exactly.
It's you kill a very popular celebrity figure.
Yeah.
What makes you think that world leaders aren't going to rally to support the last cause she believed in?
I don't know. I guess I never really thought about it.
Now, Mohammed Al-Fayed maintained till his dying day in 2023, nearly over 30 or 25 years after the death of his eldest son, that his son and Diana had been murdered, going as so far to pay employees to lie to legal authorities and suing employees who refused. But if they were murdered, it is suspicious that they were murdered in a Fayed-owned car driven by a Fayed employee from one Fayed property to another.
That is weird, because isn't that Muhammad's employees?
Mm-hmm.
So why would he want them dead?
He's claiming other people killed them, but here's the thing. Like I said, they were in a Muhammad Al-Fayed owned car.
Yeah.
Driven by his employee. From a property he owned to a property his son owned.
So maybe he did it.
If there was a murder, I think there's more evidence that he did it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it kind of sounds like at this point, that, like, maybe he did it and he's blaming all these other people to get the eyes off of himself.
Now, it should be noted that he did not start claiming that they were murdered until 2 years after their death.
Interesting.
He also kept silent for years that Diana... He claims that on the night, Diana and Dodi called him and said she was pregnant and they were getting married, but there's no record of a phone call. And there's no record of a lot of things that he said, such as they were at Villa Windsor to find a room for the baby. And in fact, Paul Burrell, her trusted friend and butler, said he looked at the security footage from the Ritz that night as part of the case. And he said Diana honestly looked annoyed. And a lot of Diana's friends said she was smitten with Dodi, but she was starting to, like, get annoyed.
With him?
Yeah, because you know how, like, when you first date someone for the first couple weeks, it's like, or for the first couple dates, it's, oh, this is so wonderful. And then after a while, it's like, actually,
you're annoying. You have to leave. We're done. Yeah. Been there. Yeah.
Now,
I've been on the other end, too.
Diana's body was flown back to London aboard a Royal Air Force flight, escorted by her elder sisters and Prince Charles. Despite no longer being an official member of the royal family, she was granted a royal ceremony funeral in Westminster Abbey, attended by the royal family, representatives of over 100 charities she had supported in her life, and celebrity friends, including pop singer Elton John, who adapted his hit Candle in the Wind to perform during the funeral. The royal family, especially the Queen, faced intense public anger in the days following Diana's death as they remained at their Scottish summer home with William and Harry rather than returning to London to be at the forefront of the mourning. They did crawl back from this when the Queen publicly paid tribute to Diana and actually bowed to Diana's coffin, the first time she bowed since the death of her father in 1952.
That's sweet.
Diana was offered a burial plot at the Royal Burial Ground near Windsor Castle, but her siblings opted to bury her on the grounds of her ancestral home, Althorpe, where she was buried in an island in the middle of a lake so she could, at last, have peace and privacy.
Oh, that's sweet.
As for her family, Charles would go on to marry Camilla in 2005. When the Queen died in 2022, he did succeed her as King Charles III, and she did become Queen Camilla of the United Kingdom. Her son William is currently serving as Prince of Wales, having married Kate Middleton in 2011. She did tell him to marry a friend, and he did just that. As for Prince Harry finally got away from the royal family, which he felt was the cause of his mother's misery, when he married Meghan Markle, who is now the Duchess of Sussex, and they moved to California, which apparently Diana, during the last years of her life, did discuss moving to California.
And there it is, folks.
And there it is. Our first double feature done.
Now, what if
Okay.
Camilla and Charles are actually in love? Well, actually, there's no doubt about that. What if their love story is like a good one? And maybe I'm hating for no reason.
Here's the problem, because I read another book where it like went a little, like, it wasn't about Diana, it was just about the royal family in general, and it went in depth into Camilla, and she's not a terrible person. And she, like, no one, like, Camilla was part of the, like, little committee choosing Diana. And when I said, like, Camilla spent that meeting, that lunch, interrogating her, Camilla said, like other people said, like, no, like, Camilla was very committed to having, like, Charles and Diana's marriage work.
Maybe it's probably just one of those things that Diana is so likable, it makes you not like Camilla.
Everyone else. Yeah. I mean, I will say, I think Diana and Charles were both at fault for the way the marriage ended. She wanted a lot and he wanted a lot, and the problem was neither one of them was willing to adapt to one another. She wanted a knight in shining armor. He wanted a mother figure. They weren't willing to give that to one another.
Yeah, and it is a little weird. Like, I could understand not wanting to be someone's mother more in a relationship, because that is what some guys want. They just want someone to be their mom and who's going to take care of shit for them.
So, it sucks. But like I said, after their divorce, they actually became very close friends. Charles would routinely stop by Kensington Palace to have tea with her and, like, have little talks. And they actually found that they had a lot in common. And a majority of Diana's friends maintained that Charles was the love of Diana's life.
I mean, I don't like that. That doesn't sit right with me, because it was such a sad fucking thing.
I know, but, like, unfortunately, sometimes, like, the love of your life, it's just not what you want.
That makes me really sad, and I don't want to think about that, because that is really sad. To think about, like, that thing, like, yeah, this person is the love of your life, but it's not the person you can be with because of outstanding circumstances and how things played out, which I do think happens to people.
And that's the thing, I mean, I believe that the love of my mother's life was her first husband, but he died a year into their marriage. He had a massive heart attack and died. And it's like, it's, on the one hand, it's a little sad that, like, my father wasn't the love of her life, but on the other hand, my mother was the love of my father's life. My parents were divorced for 12 years before my mother died, and my mother's now been dead for 10 years, and my father still talks about my mother as if they were married till her dying day. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't. And I can think of a few guys I've been with that I thought, like, wow, this guy could be it, and it just didn't work out. Yeah. As far as the conspiracy theories go, I don't know. These people are such powerful people, and yeah, all this stuff does discredit it or whatever, but, like, I don't know. My conspiracy brain just wants to, like, think that, like, ooh, maybe they did, and maybe they're covering up, and will we ever know all the facts? But after the fact, you have told me, maybe if it was anyone, I do agree that it was probably Muhammad.
And when I said that at the end, I wasn't trying to, like, throw blame on Muhammad al-Fayed. I was just saying, like, he's throwing around these murder accusations when, like, most of the evidence points towards him.
Right.
I will say, if it couldn't be caused by someone, because it's just too random. Too many things. it was one of those situations where everything went wrong. And if one thing had gone right, Diana would have lived. If she'd worn her seatbelt, she probably would have lived. If they were traveling a little slower, they probably would have lived. If he would have gone along the Champs-Elysees, they probably would have lived. If Henri Paul hadn't drunk, they would have lived.
Drive drunk, yeah.
And here's the thing. If you would have changed any one of those things, it would have changed the whole thing. And it just so happened that everything went wrong in that moment. But if one thing would have gone right.
Almost like it was meant to be. Spooky. Almost like she was meant to depart that day. Almost by the interference of some royal force. Maybe some greased brakes.
Lizzie, grease the brakes! Just kidding.
No, for real. But like when you put it like that, it does sound
It's just too random.
Yeah.
If it was... I mean, and here's the thing. When you kill somebody in a car crash, it's an unexplained single car collision.
Mm-hmm.
With one fatality, and that's the person you wanted to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Secret services don't try to kill bystanders unless they have to.
I could believe that. Yeah.
And Diana did drive herself a lot, so.
I believe it.
Anyways, thank you so much for listening. For 100 episodes, we are thrilled, and the next 100 are going to be
even crazier.
Better. I was about to say as good. Better than the last 100.
Yes, even crazier, bigger, better, hornier, all the adjectives.
I can't wait to get away from sitting by these balloons because they actually kind of smell from being in the packaging so long.
And I'm realizing I don't look good on gold. Me with the gold backdrop, it's not giving.
Oh, wow. Please let us know your own thoughts. Please like, subscribe, follow, comment below, or DM us on any of our social media with your thoughts. If you have personal stories about ghosts, about alien encounters, about cryptid sightings, or about Princess Diana, please email us at our email below. Paul, where can they find you?
You can find me on my personal Instagram and TikTok at Paulember, Paulember. And as usual, it's not delivery. It's DiGiorno.
And if you'd like to follow me, please do so on Instagram and TikTok at The Real Geech Powers. And until next time, keep your grips tight.
And your corks loose.
Bye. Lizzie, grease the brakes!
I knew it! She always does that shit.